kind of big girl that was resisting arrest and they tasered her?
Well, you know what? That's funny that you mentioned that as we're on the post show now live as it just came on. I I'm gonna tell the story because I had a state constable show up at my house, and this is about maybe a couple years. This is a couple years before I became an actual pastor. So, I wasn't. I mean, I'm not like a criminal. I wasn't hustling weight. I wasn't selling coke. I wasn't robbing banks or nothing like that. But he showed up at my house because I had got a ticket for because I was being cheap and I didn't want to get my car inspected on time. So I think I was playing football somewhere and a cop saw that I had bad stickers and he gave me a ticket. So they told me to pay this fine. I think the fine was for like $109 or something dumb. And so I think I was paying on like a payment plan because I didn't want to pay the whole thing off at once. And I think I missed a payment or something. And I
Uh-oh.
and I just forgot to pay it. So one day I'm sitting in my house and I'm asleep because I used to work at at night. So I'm asleep during the day. So I'm asleep. It's like 11:30 a.m. and I used to work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So obviously, you know how when you work at night, you just can't go home and just go to sleep right away.
Right.
So I think I had just fallen asleep probably at like 10, 9:30, 10, something like that. So I wake up around it was around like 11 o'clock to hear this banging. All I hear is boo, 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 loud. And I'm sitting there like, who is this banging on my door in the middle of the day when I'm trying to sleep? So I was mad. Like, I'm mad. Like, I'm mad because if you've ever been waking up out of your sleep and you didn't want to wake up, you're automatically mad, right?
Right.
Like you're automatically mad. And you're especially mad if it's somebody who's being uncourteous and banging on your door. So I go and I just open up the door and I'm mad. And I open the door like, what is it? Why are you banging on my door? And so this constable, he doesn't have on like the police gear or nothing like that. I'm thinking it's just a regular guy. So when he sees me open up the door and I'm mad and I'm basically like yelling at him because he's banging on my door, he puts his hand
Oh, are
he
you
puts his
serious?
hand he puts his hand, I guess, on his taser or on his weapon or whatever. He was like, "This is so and so. I'm the state constable, blah, blah, blah." He showed me his badge. "I'm here to take you to the judge." And so at this point, I'm mad. Like I'm kind of delirious because I'm half asleep. I'm like, the judge. I'm like, what? I'm like, who are you again? And he's like, I'm the state constable. I'm here. There's a warrant for your arrest because obviously you didn't do something, and the judge sent me to take you to him. And I'm like, I'm sitting there like I'm still mad at this point. And I said, all right. I said at this point, I said, yo, I'm half asleep, man. You're gonna have to like explain to me what you're talking about. So he showed me this arrest warrant, I guess, because I missed the payment. And at this point, I think I might have had on like my sweatpants or something like that. I didn't have on a shirt. So I said, all right, man, look, obviously I'm not dressed, man, but uh I guess I gotta go with you if you have this arrest warrant or this bench warrant or whatever it was. I think it was a bench warrant or something like that. So at this point, since I know that he's a state constable, I know that he's an officer of the court. I'm like, all right, I'll just comply. So I go and I change. And he basically says that it's procedure that he has to arrest me. So this man puts me in handcuffs and in
Are you
leg
serious?
chains. Yes. Yes. And he says that he says as we're walking to the car that uh well actually I'll get to that part later, but I get in the car and I'm in leg chains. Yes, leg chains. Like a slave, like a slave. I'm in leg chains like a slave. I'm in handcuffs. I have to get into this vehicle and go to the judge, right? So I get in the car and at this point I'm still mad, but you know, I figured that I just forgot a payment and I would just pay it or whatever when I got there or whatnot. So I asked him the question, and this is where I get the famous quotes from an officer of the court who at least told the truth. And I said, as we're driving there, I'm a little bit more awake now, and I'm not quite as mad. I said, man, why? I said, dude, there has to be like real criminals that y'all could go after, man. Like real bank robbers and rapists and killers and murderers and whatnot that you can go after, man, instead of going after me. Like, I got a job. I'm clearly if I just missed a payment, I'll just pay it. I said, why do they send y'all to my house to arrest like a regular everyday citizen? Like, and why do they spend all this energy getting y'all to come after me instead of going after drug dealers and stuff? And you want to know what that man said?
What?
He said, well, it's because we're not getting money from the drug dealers and from the killers and stuff. We get money from regular citizens.
So he was getting a cut of what you had to pay, right?
That's exactly what he gets. The state constable gets fees for going after people for bounties, and he said that he was like that's how the borough makes their money. They make money from regular citizens who want to stay regular citizens, so they have to pay fines. That's why we come after them. We're not getting money from the drug dealers. Their stuff is illegal, and when they do get finally caught, it usually gets confiscated by the FBA or by the FBI, and it's put into evidence or whatnot. We don't touch that money. So the borough, this is how we get our money, by collecting these fees. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. So at this point, I'm still mad, but we're going into the courthouse. And then the guy says, because he turned out to be a pretty nice guy, he was like, "Man, I'm glad that you, calmed down, man, because I thought at first whenever I first opened the door, I was gonna have to tase you." Because he said, because you were so mad and you're like a big guy. So I was thinking to myself, like, "Man, I hope I don't have to tase this guy, man. I'm not trying to do this today." And he was like, "Yeah, because you seemed like you were mad, like you wanted to fight me." And I was like, "Man, I was half asleep, man. That's what it was, man." So I go to the judge, and this is when the judge made me so mad. This is probably one reason why I get so mad at politicians and whatnot. But man, I go there and the judge is basically like, "Yeah, you didn't pay this, you didn't pay that, blah 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 blah. This is the fine that you're supposed to pay." And I'm like, "You know what, officer?" Or I'm like, "You know what, Your Honor? I'm sorry that I didn't pay. I totally, I just forgot it." So you want to know what that judge said that I had to do?
What?
It makes me mad to this day. He said I had to pay the entire ticket. Which, now that I think about it, it wasn't the ticket that was $109. It was something else. I think it was like 3 tickets for, like, the same incident or something. But the fee was like it was like at first, it was like $600, and I think I
Good
paid it
grief.
down to, like, $400 or $300 or something like that, and I think I missed a payment. That judge said, "You gotta pay a whole ticket right now or you go to jail." I was so mad. I mean, I was so mad because I had just got paid probably like the day before or something like that.
And there
And
goes
I
your
had to
whole check.
it goes basically most of my whole check because, it was the end of the month, I think. I had to pay rent. And I'm like, "Are you serious, man?" I said, "You're really gonna do this?" And I'm sitting here at that point, I'm like, "You know what, man? I learned something about the criminal justice system." And this is why I'm not a big proponent of like quote unquote racism. I think that the only color that the criminal justice system really wants to see
Green.
is green.
Yep,
And the
that's
evidence that
it.
I have for this being true is People say the system is rigged against black men. I have one response to that. O.J. Simpson. If there's any man who you would have thought would have went to jail for killing not one white person, but two, if there's any man that you would have thought would have been put underneath the jail, it's O.J. Simpson. But did O.J.
Mhm.
Simpson serve a day of jail time for that crime? Nope. And why? Because he had the most important color when it came to the justice system, green. So that's why I don't buy the whole systematic racism thing and all this other stuff. I'm like, look, if you got money, if you got to a point in your life where you have money and you're able to begin to be able to influence some things, there's some things that you could be like, you know what? Pay this person, pay that person, or I know this person. They're gonna let you off with some stuff. Why? Because you're a benefit to society.
Yep.
See, they let certain people off with certain things whenever you're an actual benefit to society. That's the reason why Floyd Mayweather, and I'm done. This is a quick post show. It's the reason why Floyd Mayweather, when he's supposed to serve jail time starting in June, he can go to the judge and say, listen, Your Honor, I don't want to go to jail in June because I have a fight that's coming up and it's going to make the city of Las Vegas millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I think that these business owners would appreciate it if you allowed me to have my fight and then I serve jail time after the fight's over. You want to know what that judge said?
Sure.
He said, you know what? He said, your motion to move the jail sentencing has been accepted.
Yep.
It's been accepted. And he let him go fight. And he said, all right, you'll serve the jail time after this. Why? Because of money. So
Mhm.
that's the reason why I don't buy the whole thing. Well, because you're black, you get thrown under the jail. No, because you're broke and you're poor, you get put under the jail. That's why stuff like that happens. You know, I mean,
Right.
that's just me though. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you think that I'm wrong?
No, I think you're right.
Because I learned that day the most important color to the judges and to the system
Green.
is green. So if you want to know how to avoid jail time, I would say just comply. Just comply. Why can't we give the
Huh.
why can't we give black men and women the message to just comply? We're the only race in America, the only people in the world who sit around thinking that we have the ability to talk back to the police, jump up at the police, fight the police, and nothing's supposed to happen. We're the only people who go around doing this. You don't see
Yep.
them doing this in Africa. Do you see them doing this in China? Do they got badge
No,
numbers in China when they come and they arrest you? Nope.
you're
They
right.
got badge numbers down in Africa when they just decide, listen, when they just say, listen, man, we're gonna take you away. We're gonna take you away and we don't care. We don't care about anything. We're taking you away. Well, what about my rights? You don't have any rights. You're a criminal. You're a criminal. We're taking you away. We're putting you in jail. You'll get to see the judge whenever we say you can see the judge. And that's what they do. Ain't no badge numbers. They beat you down. They do whatever. Don't nobody say nothing. But here in America, oh, you can't do this. Why didn't you do this? I know that they resisted and they came and they tried to fight you, but you didn't have to beat them up like that. You could have just did this. You could have just grabbed them and held them. We're the only people in the world that do this. And the rest of the world sees this. They look at black Americans and they see us as a joke, a total
This is
joke.
true. This is true.
We are a joke to the rest of the world.
This is
So,
true.
with that being said, that's my post show. Do you have any thoughts to add on that?
No, I think it speaks for itself.
I think I'm gonna go and since I had such a bad day today, I think I'm gonna go and enjoy some steak and shrimp. No, some steak and lobster. How about that? I never get lobster, so
Sounds good to me.
why not? So, anyway, everybody, this has been another post-show edition of Uncle Tom's Extravaganza, where you can watch the whole post show on Facebook. If you type in Uncle Tom's Extravaganza, it should come right up. We're on there live every Sunday night at 6 o'clock p.m., and we're discussing topics that really come about throughout the course of the week. And so this week we were talking about uh, police brutality, of course, George Floyd, but we were talking about mostly bad culture. So go and check it out. All of the shows are on there. They're archived, I do believe, and I think that you'll like it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next week, we, of course, are signing